Acaden Lewis will no longer play for the Kentucky Wildcats. A development that was, I think, without question, surprising. We'll talk about this. Where do we go from here at the point guard position? That will be our conversation on today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. Carson, you were at Keeneland yesterday. I think you're going today and you're going tomorrow. I mean, you didn't bet on D-Book, who won at 55-1, I assume, right?
Yeah, no, I wish I would have. I actually didn't pay attention to that race because I overheard saying that this is a pick me, and I like to avoid the pick 'em races.
55-1 on a former Kentucky player name, though, it's just, I mean, it feels. I'm lucky. I texted Carson and I was like, put $20 on Brea for 3 for me. And luckily that was the first race and you weren't there yet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have lost $20. So, hey, you know what? We take our wins and we can. But first, we want to give a shout out to Megan, who won the Wildcats Today bracket pool. We're going to leave a comment on this one, Megan. We were talking in the last video about some stuff, so we're going to leave a comment down here talking about the $50 and all that stuff. But we're going to answer. Megan wanted some questions answered, so we'll do that at the tail end of the show. And the bracket was 99.9th percentile, which is insane. So
utterly insane. And these questions, you can tell that Megan knows ball.
These questions are incredible. So
yeah.
We'll get to some of those at the tail end. But I mean, Carson, to get kickstarted here with the Acaden Lewis conversation, this was one I didn't see it coming at all. And it wasn't like there was like a week ago, like, man, I'm hearing some chatter about Acaden Lewis. Like, it was just, he's gone. Like, there was nobody seemed to know anything about it, which was a bit weird. But it is what it is with that. So the question really becomes, Lewis is gone. That ship has sailed. The question becomes, Carson, to me, it's very simple. We're going to get another shooter. We'll talk about that. Hopefully it's Lamar Wilkerson. We'll talk about him in a minute. But do you want to roll the dice behind Jalen Lowe with Chandler, more than likely Chandler, but we'll add Travis Perry in the conversation, or go get another point guard in the portal? That is now the question for this team.
I would like to have a backup point guard just in case, but I don't know. I could see maybe Jasper running some of those backup minutes as well. So I think Pope kind of has an idea of kind of what he wants to do there. Acaden transferred out, in my opinion, because of, I think Lowe is going to be a 2-year guy and not just a 1-year guy. So I think the plan for Acaden might have been stretched a year or two when Lowe committed. So that might have forced him out a little bit. I wish nothing but the best for Acaden. Seems like a great kid. So I hope he kills it where he goes. But it's an unfortunate thing, but I think it had to do with the Lowe impact.
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, Lowe has an opportunity to be a 2-year player. I mean, I'm with you. I am right now currently on the mental up and up when it comes to Colin Chandler. Now, do I feel confident rolling into the season with Chandler as the backup point guard? I like Chandler as that guy because, first of all, as we saw last year, injuries can happen and will happen. So you want to be deep at all your positions. But I like Chandler kind of as the maybe, get some minutes backing up your 1 and your 2, some kind of be that guy. There is a chance that Colin Chandler, especially the way he played the last 10, 12 games of the season, he could be insane next season. It could happen. It would take some development as a decision maker, as a ball handler. There are some things that he would have to improve on. There's no question there. But I think if he makes that year 2 leap, he could be a special player. But that's the question. And Carson, this is one I lean either way. If you want to roll the dice with Chandler, I can live with it. But I also, what I was talking about last night, this is what I would do. This would be my solution to this problem. I would go and I wouldn't go spend the bank on a point guard. I would go and get a portal point guard, a guy that comes from a smaller school, averaged 10 points and 4.5 assists, and is a legitimate, could be your backup point guard, right? And then let that guy compete with Colin Chandler, and whoever wins, wins. It scares me now thinking about, and I guess we do have the money back we were going to pay Lewis, but having to spend a ton of money on a new point guard. So I'd be cool with that and say, here, Colin, we brought a solid point guard in to compete with you for the backup. If you want it, go win it, and let those two guys compete for that spot.
Well, my favorite thing about Jasper and Colin Chandler is I consider them both combo guards. So I think they both can play the 1 and the 2. So that really allows them to gain more minutes for themselves because they can play either position. So I think neither of them are going to be impacted by if we go and get a guard. I mean, it'll impact their minutes a little, but I think they were going to play the same amount regardless. Even if we go and get a portal guard, maybe that changes if we go get like a Xavier Lee, who's already proven, which I don't
think
see.
He already committed.
Oh, did he already commit? Well,
I was going to say that was a fake account. I'm pretty sure he committed to Florida.
Well, yeah, I figured that wasn't going to happen anyway, but he was a top point guard option out there. But yeah, like you said, Lamar Wilkerson is also on the table, but he's more of a scoring guard. We talked about him.
He had not already committed. Somebody was. It was one of those fake things, I guess. Those are so annoying.
You're getting got a lot. Yeah, you seem like a Facebook fan. Are you a Facebook fan?
Well, I mean, if he's not going to commit to us,
fall for the AI pictures.
He's either going to St. John's or Florida. I just don't. I'm so tired of it because I don't care about it. Like, we weren't pursuing him. I just opened up Twitter and like, oh, that kid committed. Like, I don't really. It's not like I'm like. I mean, it wasn't. I forget the same guy I saw just said that. That's when I was kind of like, might be fake. Said that Hurley is going to take a look at the Nuggets job, and I was like, okay, I don't know. He's like, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, but what I was saying is Lee was the top option, but I think Wilkerson is way more likely. He's more of a true 2 guard, though. He's more of a 2 and a 3. He comes off ball screens more often than creates offense. But I think he's a shot chucker. I mean, he gets them up. So I would like the addition of him. And like I said, I think you can slide Jasper into that 1 slot and see what you get out of him. And yeah, I think it's more of a competition between Jasper and Colin Chandler at this point for the minutes at that 1 position. Yeah. But like you said, I wouldn't mind to go see him pick up a proven point guard in the portal. Or I would just say that I think Jasper could fill that role.
Yeah, I would like to. And tell me if you agree with this, because both of these things can be true. I just think Jasper is such a good shot creator. I just love him at the 2. Yes, he can handle the ball and play the point. There's no question. I know he can do it. But I just think he's the best version of himself when he's off the ball, getting catch and shoot opportunities and creating his own shot. So
yeah, but I'll throw this rebuttal at you real quick. Yeah. With our offense, there's no really true 1 because you got to think a 4 or a 5 is going to be the one orchestrating the offense. So Jasper's going to be coming off screens regardless.
It is true. I mean, like we saw, Jackson run the point last year.
Yeah.
I mean, so I agree with you for the most part, but I personally, if the options were go get a backup proven point guard or run Jasper at the 1, I'd rather go get a backup guy and run Jasper at the 2. But I think that Jasper could do it. I just think that, I don't know, I'd like our offensive output. Now, I've got a question for you, Carson. And what are your thoughts on our current team, the way our roster sits right now with the 3-point shooting? What are your thoughts on that?
I still feel like it'd be a good 3-point shooting team. I question where the creation of the shots will come from.
Yeah,
a little bit. I would like to see us. I know JQ is probably going to run that Amari role well. I would like to see us. I really want Vulgaris. I'm very high. Like, you were the Nico Bundalo guy or whatever his name is.
I like Vulgaris as much as you like. I love Vulgaris.
Yeah,
I want him back.
I think adding Vulgaris as your guy to like distribute and kind of create the offense would be massive for us. Just because he's that proven. He's like a Jokic. Like he can pass, and I compare Jokic. That's out of control, but. I mean, a college, way watered down version of it. But I would like to see us pick him up, and then I would like to see us go get Wilkerson. And I think those 2 additions would kind of finalize the roster for me. And then once you're done with that, I think you have the best team in the country. But as of right now, you have to go get a shooter because I just don't think you
Yeah,
have
you have
the
to. Yeah,
shooting.
I think I'll be honest with you, and we'll talk a little bit about this, but I think Wilkerson's going to be a Wildcat. I'm really not concerned about it.
Wait,
I
did you
think
see that his camp is who reached out to Kentucky?
Yeah, and I mean I know he's taken a few other visits, but I think he's a cat. I feel pretty confident in that. I'm not. So my thoughts on the shooting. And everyone, well, let me explain before people go to yell in the comments. I'm not saying this team won't be able to shoot. It's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, compared to last year's team, now Lowe is very comparable to Lamont Butler as a shooter. From what Butler did as a 3-point shooter at San Diego State, he came in and he got a lot better. I just feel like if you in Diabate once again, he shot 46% from three.
Lowe's a better shooter than Lamont Butler.
I agree.
It's because he shot the ball 150 times.
Yeah, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is I need him to prove that. You know what I mean? We can sit here and say that I want him to prove it. But I'd like a better shooter in our front court than we have right now. I believe Quaintance is going to take a jump as a shooter. Diabate, once again, he was 12 for 26 last year, so the percentage is great. I'd like to see that, over a more a heftier sample size.
Mm-hmm.
But
you can tell it's there. That's
yeah. So I guess my thought is that, like, I wonder what their plan is with this team, because I just don't see this team as much being a 32 threes a game type of team. And I know that's what Pope wants to do, but I see this team being awful similar to last year's team where they shoot like 25.
Well, if you look at it like last year, I mean, the first two additions were Amari Williams and Lamont Butler.
Yeah.
And we were all freaking out as in like, oh, where's our shooting going to come from? And then later on, we went and got Kobe Brea and, Ansley and all them.
And,
so
and
I think he was trying to shore up the defensive end and the athleticism first, because that was our biggest area of weakness. Yeah. And I think the scheme allows these players to become much better shooters than they have been in the previous schools that they were at. So
I agree with that.
I think he bought in on our weaknesses really heavily at the beginning of the process, and I think now he's going to pivot to shooting.
And that's why I think a player like Cam Williams and a player like Mohamed Diabate are such great additions, because I think that they're good to fit. They're great defenders. I'm telling you, Cam Williams
is a shooter. Like,
is going to be awesome. Cam Williams, man, I think he's going to be awesome. The problem is, and it's a good problem, is you have Otega Owe as your starting three, so you're not probably going to see a starter in Cam Williams, who I think would start at a lot of schools. But so yeah, we're going to get Wilkerson. I feel pretty confident. I think we're going to go get Wilkerson. If you land him, I kind of look at this roster, and if Lowe proves, which I believe he can, and you believe he can, that he is a better shooter than the statistics show, which I made the comparison to Lamont. I see that happening. If he proves that, this team's going to be a great shooting team. I just would love to have one more guy that can knock him down. I hope Quaintance will take a jump as a shooter.
I feel like he will.
And you're not going to see Moreno shoot many threes. I think Quaintance is going to take a jump. I think that Garrison is still. We'll see what's going to happen there. There was some weird news yesterday about him taking.
Yeah, there's been a lot of chatter about him transferring, but then it kind of died down, and it was more of like he's back now. So it's odd though. He took all his UK stuff out of his bios, and he was in Oklahoma City yesterday. So who knows? I guess that's one to watch.
It's just a weird thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, why are we creating this like drama?
Yeah,
I don't get the point of it, but I just think that's kind of you know what I mean. Like, why would you do that if you're coming back here? Is why I find it weird. You know what I mean? Like, why do that unless he's trying to get more NIL, whatever, maybe he's doing something like that. But I still want Fulgaris bad. I mean, the problem is I don't know if you have Garrison with Fulgaris, because even though Garrison was 5 last year, can play the 4. Fulgaris is a guy that can play both spots too. So it's
heck. Now you have the Acaden Lewis money that you didn't have. Now you can pay him extra to stay. Be like, hey, here's this extra check to stay. Bulgarians still come, and then add Wilkerson, and then there you go.
Yeah. I just think, and everyone's going to be upset about it and tell us how little ball we know. Now, I think that he, as right now, probably plays over but like if those are your 5 forwards, I think your as I've said, I would start Fulgaris at your 4, Mo Diabate as your backup. I would start Quaintance at your 5, and then probably your 2A and 2B are Moreno and Garrison. And I mean, Garrison has NBA upside. So does Moreno. So does Quaintance, and so does Fulgaris. So, I mean, we could sit here. I could make a PowerPoint. And we could debate for 5 hours.
Quaintance is going to be a top 10 pick.
Quaintance is going to be a top 5 pick. I think, hell. I think Fulgaris is an NBA player, to be honest with you. I think he's a guy that might be
he plays the NBA style well.
Yeah, and to piggyback off your Jokic thing, I think he could be that guy drafted during the Taco Bell commercial in the second round and end up being a great player. Like that's the type Fulgaris really has that upside in him because he's a skilled European guard.
And he's sneakily athletic.
Guard handle. Yeah.
Like he's an athlete.
So yes, players can make off-season jumps. I think we all know that. Players can make off-season jumps. Garrison has an off-season jump in him, but then I think Moreno is going to be really good. I think
remember last year we were talking about Ortega having a jump, and you saw that from his sophomore to his junior season. That was Brandon's sophomore season. Now this is going to be his junior season. Same thing with Lowe, right? It's sophomore season going into his junior season. I mean, you're going to have some guys that are ready to take that next step and go to the next level. So I'm excited about where our roster stands right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of at a point where it is interesting. The fan base is split 50-50 on this Garrison thing. If you go on social media, it is so split. Even our comments here are split down the middle on Garrison. And I just think I would, and I don't listen. I'm going to say this. I'm going to look right in the camera. All of our big time Garrison fans, we like Brandon Garrison. He has NBA upside. He's a good player. He's a gritty player. He plays the game hard.
We love his attitude.
I love his attitude. I like Fulgaris better. I've been wrong before, and I am willing to be wrong again. I'm just saying I would hate to miss on Fulgaris, and he goes somewhere else, and Garrison is the same player he was last year, and Fulgaris averages 14 points and 11 rebounds and 3 blocks and 4 assists and shoots 41% from 3, and we're going, damn. I think I would like to keep both of them, but if you're not going to get – if Garrison is leaving because you get Fulgaris, I'm cool with it. And I know that's going to make – out of 10 people, that'll make 5 mad and 5 will agree. But I just really think Fulgaris is the answer. I think he is a sneaky NBA upside player who takes our team to the next level. And I think you've got great – and he's our 4 – but then I think you throw – I just don't think Garrison's going to want to come play in a – because then I think if you get Fulgaris, you're fully putting Quaintance at the 5. And I don't think BG would want to be in a rotation with Moreno, Quaintance, and himself at the 5. I don't think he'd have any interest in that, knowing he could go somewhere and be their starting center. So this is going to be interesting. But I don't mean to sound harsh on it. I just think that we do have to understand at the end of the day that we love BG, but this is a business. If we want to get a player that makes our team better and that's going to make him want to leave, then it is what it is. I mean, that's college basketball is a business. It's hard. You know what I mean? You can't really have feelings as much in it.
Definitely. And if it's a competition thing, then if he doesn't want to compete for the spot, then he's, as much as I love BG, like this is Kentucky at the end of the day. Like we want to win national championships.
And I'm cool with that. Come back and compete. You know what I mean?
If he wants to come back and work his tail off for a starting spot, hell yeah.
Win the job. I'm all in on it. Win the job. Tell Andrew Stefaniak he's an idiot. I would love it. There was nothing more I would love. I'm just telling you right now, I would prefer our starting backcourt to be Quaintance and Fulgaris than Quaintance and Garrison. Front court. Yes. I would rather that. So that's the reality. I mean, I am in a spot right now where that's the way I sit and I look at that. So, and like I said, that's going to make some people mad, and we're going to hear about how little ball we know and how we never played ball and we don't know ball, which none of that's true, but we're going to hear all about it. But listen, at the end of the day, everyone keep their bookmarks on this conversation and we'll see what happens. Bookmark.
Like we said, there's nothing more than we want to see. We want BG in blue and white.
I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong if it means BG's good and he's a great player for a great basketball team. And I think he can still do that. That's the thing is, and I'm not going to group you into this conversation, Carson, because I don't know if you're as hard in on this as I am, but I'm not saying BG, once again, I want him to be a part of this team. I just want him to compete for the spot. If he wins it, that'd be awesome. That'd be ideal because that means that he beat out some great players. Now, he's not beating out Quaintance. It would be kind of like a Quaintance, Fulgaris, and Garrison competing for 2 spots type of deal, in my opinion. You know what I mean? He's not beating out Quaintance. He'd have to, in essence, beat out Fulgaris to force Quaintance to play your 4 or Garrison to play your 4. You know what I mean? That's what would have to happen. He ain't beating out Quaintance, but he could beat out Fulgaris. But I think our basketball team is better with all those players on it. That's the reality. So
yeah, and I think the thing with BG and I think our fans right now is what we see is BG, his plus is BG has a lot of defensive upside because of his stature and his athleticism. But we also have Malachi Moreno and Jaden Quaintance and Mo Diabate to come in and play the defensive roles. So we do need some scoring in the front court. So BG is going to have to take a step up in that category is what might concern some of the fans that are kind of torn on the BG department. And they know that Vulgaris shores up that category. So, I mean, you're losing some defense if you lose BG for Vulgaris, but you're also, I don't know, it's a give and a take. But there's nothing more that I want to see than BG in blue and white next year. And hopefully it's with Vulgaris.
That's what I want. That is what I want, is both of them to be here. But I'm worried that I'll be honest with you, I don't think that happens. I think it's one or the other, to be honest with you. And if I was BG, I would, honestly, I mean, you got to understand too, it's a business for these kids as well. As much as it's a business for universities, it's a business for the players. If I'm BG and they go get Fulgaris, I would go somewhere else and be their starting center. He will start at a Power 4 school.
Get paid $2 million and go be a starting center somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying, where you could still get drafted. And so, I mean, I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying I don't see a world where he's interested in sticking around if Fulgaris comes in. That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I agree.
And so Carson, I feel pretty good about Wilkerson. I know you agree with that. I mean, nothing. His
visit starts on Sunday, so I guess we'll see.
Maybe we'll see him at Keelan, but I feel good about Wilkerson. I think he's a great player. I think he's that shooter. He is the missing link to this team. This team without Fulgaris is a top 5 team. Without Wilkerson, I don't think it is. Or, Pierre. I think once again, Jerome Pierre, I haven't heard any more updates.
I'm pretty sure Pierre and us stopped contact. So I think we're out on Pierre.
I didn't see that.
That might be a telltale sign for Mr. Wilkerson.
Exactly. So no, I hadn't seen any updates on Pierre in a while. But I mean, I've made it very clear, if you get one of Yates, who just committed to Washington, Pierre or Wilkerson, that fills that hole we needed. To me, all those players were pretty darn equal. So, but I mean, Wilkerson's great.
I was going to be happy with any of those 3.
Either of those 3 guys fills exactly what we need perfectly. So get Wilkerson, and then, I mean, at this point, you get Wilkerson. We'll see what happens with the point guard position today or tomorrow, because you're going to hear Mark Pope has reached out to X, Y, and Z point guard, Mark Pope, or you won't hear that. And if that's the case, we're probably rolling with Chandler and Jasper as our backup point guard. And then we'll hear what happens with Fulgaris. I mean, I saw Nakos, projected us to land him, but it was like a low. He does not have a ton of confidence in it. And like the same thing, I don't have a lot of confidence in it too. I think it's pretty darn close.
Well, I think here's my thing with that too. I think they got all that Brandon Garrison buzz about the transfer speculation. And then we're like, well, if he's leaving, you already know who's coming in. Yeah. So it's like putting in a pick. So I don't know. I'm not believing anything really. I mean, everything. This staff is so quiet that you never really know what's going on.
Until you see a boom from Coach Fugger on X, there's no such thing as
and Andrew sees booms from Cody Fugger on X, even though it's the fake account, and still gets excited about him.
I know. I really am. Those irk the heck out of me. I mean, real funny. The worst part was I've gotten better at it. Like I always confirm, but like when I'd like there was one point I like wrote a whole article before I realized it was a fake account, and I was like, come on, bro. That's so sickening. It was really,
you didn't think to like click the profile first?
No, because I was trying to get the article out quick, and then I like went to pull the tweet to put it in there, and I was like, this dude has 4 followers. This is not a real account. I was like, oh my God. It was really stupid. The profile is just stop doing that, people. I am begging you, stop doing it. It's
Keep
not
doing it.
funny.
It's
It's
hilarious.
just confusing. No, it's not. It's confusing. I don't like it. But all right, so Carson, let's. So yeah, we talked about Acaden. He's gone. We'll see what happens at point guard. Talked about Wilkerson. Talked about all the stuff with the front court with Fulgaris and Garrison and all that. So let's answer a couple of these questions from Megan. Carson, you liked this question a lot. I'm gonna let you answer it. Question was: do you think all the lefties are pure coincidence or an analytical advantage? Anytime you use the word analytical, it just sounds so smart. I love that word. So do you think all the lefties are pure coincidence or an analytical advantage that separated so many of our players from other options Pope could have gone after? Carson, you seemed excited about answering this one. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there's part of it is that it's a little bit of an advantage because the defense has to kind of it's like a mirrored version of the defense or the offense. So like the sets would have to be on the opposite end because he's a lefty instead of a righty. So the defense is going to have to learn to guard them differently. So I think it is a little bit of an advantage running sets for Mark Pope. And I think he knows that. And it's going to be harder for them because defenders are used to closing out on right-handed shooters because the high population are right-handed shooters. So it's going to be interesting to see how he works that in and implements that because I think that could be an analytical advantage, and that was a great question for
Yeah,
sure.
it is. This next one's good too because I think it's a really great talking point. Probably one that we might even do like an entire show on in a couple weeks or months once our roster's finalized. But it was, we will be a younger team than last year. Do you think that's that's coincidental or strategic? Personally, I think it's exactly what Mark Pope wanted. Even just at his introductory press conference. I mean, he made it very clear this year we're going to be portal based because I've got 2 days to put a team together. I think his future goal is to mix. I think it's to mix a couple veteran portal players, a couple star young portal players that can be the future, like a Lowe is a great example. Cam Williams is a great example. Quaintance is a great example, although Quaintance is an NBA player. And Diabate. I mean, there's and then have a couple of veteran guys like Wilkerson's going to come in and be a veteran. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a guy that's played. How old is Wilkerson? Is he a sophomore? Why do I think he's a sophomore? Maybe
No, I think Wilkerson's a senior.
He is a senior. So this will be it for Wilkerson. So that's exactly what I'm saying. A guy that brings in, a veteran, played a lot of college basketball. I think Coach Pope wants that healthy mix because you get your savvy veterans that have, played in the tournament games and played in big moments and all that. You've got your savvy veterans. You've got your young talent from high school and then some of your young talent from the portal. I think it's a perfect mix. And he also wants to mix in returning players, which he'll have in Colin Chandler and Perry and Garrison, so I think it's just he wants a mixture of all of those things.
Well, yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think roster continuity is huge for Pope, and he wasn't able to have that last year because he needed to compete right away. So he just went all in on old portal guys. But I think this year you see, I think Andrew, you made a perfect point. I think that's just the way he wants to build the roster.
Yeah, I agree. All right, this question, this NIL related question. What I've wanted to do this for a while, Carson, and I think once our roster is finalized, I think we should do this. I kind of want to do like a deep dive into NIL because I don't fully understand. I don't think anyone fully understands NIL and like how much are you allowed to spend? Like it's, is this like a baseball thing where the Reds have $80 in a Tootsie Roll and the Yankees have $400 billion? Like, what is the,
That would be nice.
So, but the question here was, how do we compete with the BYUs of the world? I think Oregon's another great example, Texas A&M, and their ridiculous unlimited budgets. And my answer to that is, I don't know enough about NIL to know, like, there's not a cap to it, right? I mean, I know that these collectives have the fun. I don't.
There's no cap to it right now, and I think you're going to see a lot of restrictions be put in place whenever revenue sharing starts.
They should
next season. Which will be beneficial for Kentucky. It'll be huge because it'll bring in a lot more money to the program. But as of right now, there's really no cap. And going back to BYU, they have the Mormon church money, so they are loaded. But yeah, I think it's more of teams are just pumping in money left and right. It's more pay to play right now than it's ever been. So I think you're going to start to see more restrictions be put on NIL.
I think you got to put a salary cap, which first of all, we got to do that on baseball because I'm tired of – I can't wait to watch Ellie De La Cruz and the Dodgers in 3 years. It's really annoying. I will literally take that to Congress if I need to. I just want the Reds to be on the same playing field as every other team. It's stupid. It's not fair. It's an excuse. It is a absolute – it's just horrible that a professional baseball team has no chance to compete because with these bigger market teams, it's bullshit. I'll tell you that right now. But
looks like the Reds are struggling.
Yeah, well, I am too. But last question here that we'll talk about, and this is another fun one. What are your predictions for our offense and defense KenPom ratings compared to last year? And this says, assuming we get the shooter, which once again we'll play the game, assuming that we end up having Wilkerson a part of this roster. So last year, our KenPom rating, Carson, to end the season, offense was 10, defense was 51. Defense, if y'all remember, at one point was in like the 120s. So it climbed toward the end of the year. I mean, I'll answer this one, Carson. In a dream world, I think our offense is top 5 and our defense is top 25. I think we will have a top 10 for sure, but I think our offense will be in the top 5. So I'll say top 5. I am more scared about the defense, Carson, than I am the offense, obviously for normal reason. And so last year, his last year at BYU, Pope's defense was 60 in KenPom. Let's see where it was in 2023. In 2023, his defense was 52 in KenPom. Man, that's a crazy year. His offense was 100 and his defense was 50. But I mean, Pope is still not put together, a defense above 50 on a season. So, I mean, do you have the confidence that this year he's going to be able to get that inside the top 25, which statistically is necessary to win it all?
Pope never had a player like Jaden Quayton step on BYU.
That is true.
Ever. So, yeah, I'm confident that they'll be in the top 50 defensively. Mo Diabate and Jaden Quayton by themselves might get them in the top 50.
Yeah. How do you feel about our guards defending? Because we do not have a Lamont Butler. I think Lowe's a pretty solid defender. I think, you know what I mean? Like, I think they're going to be okay, but
I like our size. I think size is huge for defense, in my opinion. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's a Guy Ziegler, great defender. Not really when you're 5'5" and people can shoot right over you. Not for real. But I think size is huge, and I think Lowe will be great defender. I think Ortega is a known good defender. And I think whoever you get at the 3, well, Cam Williams is a good defender. So if he somehow steps into your 3 role at some point during the season, and then you have, I'm guessing Lamar Wilkerson will be serviceable enough because he's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we'll be fine. Quayton's, you already know, is a dominant defender. And then your 4 guy, either Vulgaris or Diabate or BG or whoever it is, who's going to be a good defender.
Yeah. So I'm in agreement. So those are the questions from Megan, who didn't really win the bracket. I mean, it was just a total arse whooping, in all honesty. So we're going to leave a comment, Megan, in below this episode for stuff with the money there. So go check that out and respond to that. But Carson, any other thoughts before we call it a week?
No, I think Megan might need a spot on the Wildcats Today show.
Seriously, with those questions and the bracket at a 99.9 percentile, geez, I think she needs to take our jobs. My goodness.
Her best comment of the whole thing was saying her favorite part of the show is how you use the mic to push your glass.
I know. I love doing that. It's my favorite thing in the world.
That was the best part of the whole thing.
It was. It's true. That was funny. That was great. It was all around. It was all around great questions, funny comment, and a heck of a job in the bracket. So shout out to Megan.
Awesome.
We'll leave that down in the comments there for you. So that is going to do it for this week here on the Wildcats Today podcast. If we get any breaking news, we'll come to y'all. If we get a commit, we'll try this weekend. We'll see. But Monday we'll be back at y'all with whatever happens on the weekend, and we'll break all that down. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. That helps the show out a ton. Keep it growing. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we see y'all at Keeneland, and we'll see y'all next time on the Wildcats Today podcast.